Hey, what's up, boxing fans? This is Rope-A-Dope Radio. I'm one of the hosts of the show, Chris Carlson. The two other hosts of the show are Joshua Jernigan from Ashy Knuckles Boxing. You can check him out at MandatoryDefenseBoxing.com. And Joe Abib from the Beeb Boxing Report. Hear you. Let's talk about the event, man. Let's get right into it. Beeb, what are your thoughts on the fight? I mean, obviously there's not a whole lot to talk about, like, oh, man, the sixth round was nuts, or you know what I mean? It was a one-sided beatdown, although, you know, Pacquiao did show once again that he can get hit, and Clottey, it's one of those things kind of like Rocky Juarez, watching him fight. You know, although he doesn't turn it on quite like Rocky in those last couple of rounds, but Clottey is he's frustrating to watch against elite fighters because he just doesn't throw enough, and it's crazy because when he threw, guess what? He was landing. So, Beeb, what did you think of the fight? What are your thoughts just in general, man?
Well, I'm not the type of person. You guys know this because you've heard me talk a lot. I don't call fighters bums. I don't say they suck. I don't say that they're cowards. I never really overly criticize a fighter. I just call it like I see it. But I want to point out that's a discussion we had last week when we were talking about Devin Alexander, and Ashy said that the bar is set so high, we don't want to put these guys in the class of a Mayweather, a Mosley, or a Pacquiao right away. And when I talked about Clottey last week, and I think you touched upon it just now as well, Clottey is just not in that class of a Manny Pacquiao. So that's why I really, really had a hard time getting up for this fight, because we would have saw Pacquiao versus Mayweather, two elite fighters. Now we're going to see Mayweather versus Mosley, two elite fighters, and we saw Pacquiao versus Joshua Clottey, taking nothing away from Joshua Clottey, but he's just not an elite fighter. Manny Pacquiao, at this stage of his career, is considered an elite fighter in boxing right now, so we expect more from him in his choice of opponents. And I just thought this card was dubbed the event. I thought it was anything but the event, in my opinion. Now, we talked about Joshua Clottey, how he shells up, how he's not a real offensive fighter, and he showed that. He has the earmuff style comparable to Winky Wright and Asa Abraham, but the difference is those two fighters are much better offensively, and they're more active offensively. He waits for his opponent to stop punching, and if you're going to do that against Manny Pacquiao, you're going to wait all day, because this guy is a whirling dervish. He does not stop punching. He did not stop punching. He threw 1,200 punches. You know, one combination after another combination. So people were saying, and people thought that Clottey was going to bring it Saturday night, but he has never brought it in his career, if you look back. And that's not to denigrate the guy. It just is what it is. He just does not open up. He waits and waits and waits. And, you know, getting back to Ashy was telling me every time, because he was there live and he saw it, he said every time that Clottey did land a shot, there was a reaction. You saw Pacquiao's eye. So he did have some success with the right hand when he did land it, but he just wouldn't throw it. Just wouldn't throw it enough. So I just basically thought that was going to happen. It was going to be one-sided. And it was one-sided as the scorecard reflected, but as I also had said, I thought it would be a physically taxing fight on Pacquiao, and it was, because it's not an easy thing to throw 1,200 punches. I mean, that's going to take its toll on you. And to Pacquiao's credit, he's in phenomenal shape, and he was able to do it. But again, one thing you have to look at moving on to the Mayweather fight is that, Clottey did not throw a lot of punches, but he was able to bruise up Pacquiao's face. So if he could do damage to Manny Pacquiao landing only a few punches, I think a fighter like Mayweather or Mosley would land much more punches than Clottey would, and they have better right hands than Clottey. And Pacquiao, once again, has shown susceptibility to the right hand. So that's just something to think about moving forward, thinking ahead to the other mega fights out there, potential mega fights out there for Manny Pacquiao. JR, what did you think about the event, brother?
What event? Anyway, man.
Undercard sure wasn't an event.
Yeah, I mean, the undercards was better than that fight if you ask me. But anyway, getting into that fight, I mean, Pacquiao was just too fast for him, like everybody initially thought. I mean, Pacquiao kept turning Clottey, and Clottey's not that kind of a guy that's going to turn with you. And honestly, when you look back at the fight, Pacquiao was turning the same way all the time. I believe he was turning to Clottey's left the whole time. And he did it so fast that every time he threw combos, he would spin out and then throw more punches. So Clottey, even when Clottey turned, he was still forced to keep his hands up because Pacquiao was throwing another flurry of punches. Now, a lot of people say that, you know, Clottey was just a fan. He was a fanboy in the ring, fighting for the paycheck. And, you know, I can understand where they're coming from, but to an extent I have to disagree with them because I said it from the beginning. Style-wise, this fight is just not made for Joshua Clottey to win. Joshua Clottey's style was tailor-made for Manny Pacquiao to pick apart. So was I surprised by this? Hell no. But, I mean, can we take a lot away from it? I mean, Manny Pacquiao did throw a lot of punches, but that was because he could. What happens when he's in there with a guy who has faster reflexes, when he's in there with the guy who throws way more accurate shots? What happens when he's in there with that kind of a fighter? I don't think he's going to be able to dish out that many punches. I think he's going to have to discipline himself and hold back. But coming away from this fight, I mean, it was a good showcase for Manny Pacquiao, but I'm still not going to take a lot out of it because style-wise, Clottey was tailor-made for him to beat.
Yeah, you're right, and I think showcase is a perfect way to put that. I guess it does hurt because it was no matter what you look at the numbers, it's going to turn out probably to be, you know, a successful event, a well-watched event for most pay-per-views in boxing. And that's kind of the downer because I even heard some people later say, man, what was up with Clottey? And I'm like, well, have you ever seen him fight against, you know, top guys? That's how he fights. You're right, though, as far as, I mean, he was there, like, when you block for, I think Manny landed 20% of his shots out of over 1,200 punches. That just shows me that he blocks a lot of his shots. I mean, Pacquiao's usually up, you know, 29, 30% every time. So he was blocking his shots, and he was there to be countered all day. And Clottey, like we've said, that he's just not he can't make that transition. He cannot counter, really, you know. He lets the guy punch, then he punches and all that, and wears the guy down and whatnot. But like you said, I mean, it does give you another view if Floyd were to get by Shane. He is the favorite, but that fight still has to happen. There's plenty of things that can happen in that fight. Let's say they did, you know, fight him and Mayweather. You know, it'd be hard for me to say. And even Manny, after the fight, said, you know, the style is easy to figure out. That Clottey is actually a harder guy to figure out, which really, I don't know if he actually meant it to word it that way, but Clottey's not really that hard to figure out. You just go to the body more, and it'll finally open up. And that's exactly actually what happened. And that's something that we had said, that we're going to see more body work. And I was impressed with Manny's body work and how he stuck to it, especially in the first 5 rounds. I thought that he probably could have hit him in the face more if he would have kept working that body and land the big shots. But, you know, he was there, and you definitely, if it was a slower fight and people didn't like it, you cannot blame Manny because the guy threw 1,200 punches. But, yeah, it's interesting to say. I mean, like I said, he was there to be countered all night. We do have, I believe it's E-Dub on the line. What's up, E-Dub? Is that you, man?
Yeah, it's me. What's going on, man?
Okay, cool. What's up, man? What were your thoughts on the event this weekend, man?
My thoughts are the same thing, that, you know, I'm not the biggest Floyd fan, but people still got to realize that Manny is doing, at least these last fights, is doing the same thing with hand picking. The fight went just the way I thought it would go, that Clottey didn't throw enough punches to beat Manny, and that's exactly what happened. And the undercard was terrible. It wasn't worth my money, and Jim Lampley is really annoying.
Bang, 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 bang. I heard there's a ringtone now on that, dude. 773, what's up, man? What do you think of this Vladimir Klitschko and Eddie Chambers fight? Who do you think is going to come out?
Well, I see Chambers. It's Carcino, by the way.
Hey, what's up, Carcino?
What's up? I see Chambers really. I think his jab is really underrated. He's really a seasoned fighter. It's just he just have a couple of rounds where he just take off, and I don't think he has the power where he can get Vlad's respect enough to stay off of him. But his jab, I think he's going to make it a very interesting fight. I don't see him getting knocked out. He sees a lot of punches coming. His reflexes are great. It's just that I think it was probably the weight. He just takes so many rounds off where he just doesn't – he loses concentration, and he doesn't do what he's supposed to do in the ring.